Hopefully in the right place. You should be in a success story, how connections and cocoa worked in Walthill. So just a quick little intro before um, I hand it over to Ian and Mitch. So Go Beyond is these doorbell noises are killing me. Go Beyond is a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving trauma-impacted youth across Nebraska and Iowa through immersive, year-round outdoor experiences and life-changing Mountain West adventures. Go Beyond transforms lives by addressing mental health challenges, trauma, and barriers to opportunity. The stories we tell ourselves, how we see ourselves, others, and our place in the world shape our growth and potential. So, Ian is the executive director of Go Beyond, and Mitch is the program manager of Go Beyond. And I will send it off to you all, and I'm excited to listen.
Thank you so much, Katie. And I'm not sure exactly how these things are supposed to work, but I would sincerely invite everyone to please like jump in, put on the cameras, put on the mics. We'll have a conversation to this, I hope. Otherwise, listening to Mitch and Danielle and I for the next 50 minutes will probably just like put you to sleep. We don't want to do that. But anyway, good morning, everyone. My name is Ian Kimmer. I'm executive director of Go Beyond. Danielle Pickering from Walthill Public Schools will be joining us shortly. She is having the perennial tech issues to start this session. So we're going to catch up with her when she joins in. Today, we're going to just kind of walk through what has become a really cool partnership between our nonprofit Go Beyond and Walthill Public Schools. As you'll learn from Danielle a bit, Walthill is a small K-12, a small rural K-12 on a Native American reservation here in Nebraska, the Omaha Nation, so the city of Omaha named after them. And in the last year and a half now, we've been building a really pretty remarkable partnership that continues to grow and succeed in engaging young people who otherwise are not terribly engaged in this space. And it's been pretty awesome to get to be a part of, to lead, and to mostly just see what's happened in the school. But quick, part of what we're going to do, though, I think quickly, by the request of our host Beyond School Bells here in Nebraska, was introduce some of who Go Beyond is. So we're going to jump into us at Go Beyond and then come back to Danielle Walthill and then go into the partnership from there. So next, I did just want to, well, there's Danielle, she's coming. I want to introduce Mitch, our program manager. Mitch, you want to quick say hey and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, guys. My name's Mitch Findley. I'm the program manager for Go Beyond. I've been involved with the program now for 3 years. I'm excited to talk to you guys about what we're doing in the after school space and kind of for you guys to learn a little more about Go Beyond.
And I would invite folks while we're talking, if it's going to be really presenty, go ahead and take a look at the Go Beyond and Walthill websites as well. I definitely would apologize beforehand. I run Go Beyond's website, and I do not know how to run a website. So there are many funny things and errors on there, but I do the best I can, and it is a good introduction to us as well. But we're going to skip a little bit ahead, come back to introducing you to Walthill School through Danielle, but I wanted to introduce you to Go Beyond here a little bit. So we've been serving the Omaha area for 45 years. We focus on trauma-impacted youth. We have 3 programs. Our core program aims at 13 to 15-year-olds, so that transition from 8th grade into high school. We aim at that particular period of time because a core thing of what we're doing is building a new peer group across the community within Go Beyond. And so this is a key time for them to build new social structures in relationship to these new peers. And then we also have near peer and adult mentors involved. Went the wrong way. So we are, as much as we do really, really cool things, which we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, I primarily think of us as a depth of impact human service organization at our core. So these 13 to 15-year-olds in our main program spend a full year with us, just doing things locally, as we'll talk about. We do a pretty awesome mountain adventure, but really it's just exploring the world and trying to open up space for some of the youth who need it most that we serve. While we're introducing you to who Go Beyond is, it's in the back of my mind that part of what made this an interesting partnership is that Go Beyond has never done what we've done with Walthill before. As you'll see, this is a different thing that we kind of do every day, and we built a partnership together to try to see if we could bring a new approach in partnership with Walthill Public Schools in our core program. But I'm going to continue introducing this core program here. And so uh, the organization of our core program, though, with these 13, 15-year-olds, we build them into cohorts. As you can see, I've talked about 366 hours together over 1 year. And key, we have these near peer mentors and 4 to 5 adult mentor leaders. And we'll talk about the staff and stuff in a second. And throughout the year, these kind of come and go, but we like this for our cohorts and our cohort. Oh, hey, there's Danielle. I'll finish this and then we'll go back and well, hey Danielle, hold on a minute. What we're going to do, since I'm already got momentum, I'm just going to do Go Beyond quick, and then we'll jump into Walthill and then the partnership. But thank you for making it in. But I'll bustle ahead here a little bit on this. But I wanted to say, in terms of the cohorts, one of the things in our core program that we really focus in on is the size of the group really matters for what we do. We want it to be a big enough group of new peers that they can find other people they connect with, and they always do. But at the same time, it's not too big to necessarily get cliquey and have some of those negative consequences of us versus them come up too much. But one of the things that is sort of a highlight of what we do is our expeditions west. So we are blessed by having connections into Wyoming, where we are able to take a lot of these kids on a pretty incredible mountain adventure that includes whitewater rafting, rock climbing, backcountry camping. None of these kids have ever done anything like this. Maybe a few of them sometimes have, but most of them never have at all. But mostly, again, we're using the experiences not to try to train future naturalists, so some of that comes of it. More, we're trying to use them as ways of impacting trajectory change in the young people, whatever that looks like. But nonetheless, we are pretty blessed that some of the places that we get to go are some of the best mountain experiences on the planet, including Grand Teton National Park, which is that picture, Yellowstone National Park, and then things like Summiting Medicine, Bow Peak, etc. So one of the key things that we do as well is really push against any shame at all. So we are purposely not achievement oriented while we are challenging kids to overcome the barriers inside themselves, reflecting on the fact that for many of the kids that we encounter and work with, their experience of day-to-day life is a never-ending reflection of inadequacy. That everyone is measuring them. Here's the A. Here's how you're less than the A. That's, for some people, that's very helpful and challenges them to do better. But for many kids we serve, that really kind of just serves to push them down a little bit further. And so when we are together, we know we have people of all abilities, experiences, and capacities. And so we really try to make sure that everything we do, we're making sure everyone fully participates in the opportunity to sort of break open your understanding of yourself, others, and the world around you. So in addition to those really awesome trips, so we do a lot of these local stuff. We try to keep them to be things where the kids want to do them. And we really put a ton of effort into overcoming barriers to engagement. So we have a huge team of volunteers, which we'll talk about in a second, but a lot of them help power our local events by giving rides. So 60% of the kids we serve would just be out of engagement if we didn't offer rides along the way. And so using volunteers and otherwise, we're able to just host these sort of nature, science, outdoor oriented things, but mostly it's just things that they want to do and want to get together and just kind of explore the world a little bit. And we let the opportunity to just kind of explore be the main thing without pushing any sort of curriculum too much in any of these. It's funny because our volunteers will double ask me, like, are you sure? Like, my volunteer role is just to come and go on a hike in the woods with a bunch of other people. That's the role. And I'm like, yes, that's a very real part of what we're trying to accomplish here, is building safe community in new places and develop new experiences to help look at a trajectory change for these young people. Just a quick continued introduction to Go Beyond, but after the kids, those 13 to 15-year-olds have been in our year one program, we do something called Natural Leaders, and this is for kids who come out of that all the way up until they're 21 years old. There's a whole variety of ways that we use them. They have been key to the Walthill partnership, as we'll talk about in a minute. But this is a pretty broad and individualized experience, though some core aspects are available to all, such as we pay two each year to help co-lead our cohorts. These are kids from the same neighborhoods, from the same spaces. They have the exact same experiences and can be a really critical bridge to the experience and the trajectory change that the younger kids, they're right there with them. And so it's very helpful to the new kids. But it also is awesome, a really awesome first job for these natural leaders. And we train them up, we give them cool opportunities. And then uh, part of those are really conservation and outdoor oriented. Mitch leads things like experiences to the Prairie Conservation Preserve in central Nebraska. We just spend a night there and do some volunteering on the land. We do the Platte River Crane Sanctuary in central Nebraska. And just kind of these quick overnight experiences. And while they're really cool and immersive and really exposure to a lot of science and nature, the main thing is just getting out of where they are, getting them a chance to breathe, getting them in a new space with each other to kind of just explore the world around them. Mitch, did you have anything you wanted to share on Omaha Natural Leaders before we jump into staff volunteers and then Walthill?
Yeah, just I would want to say a big thing that specifically when we're out in Wyoming, that what we do with the kids, we call it type 2 fun. I'm not sure how familiar everyone is with there's kind of actually a scale of different types of fun. Type 1 is where you have fun in the moment and fun upon reflection. Type 2 is where it might be a little scary or daunting or something kind of out of your comfort zone in the moment. And but then after you do it, maybe right after, even a couple months or even years after, you kind of enjoy that experience and the reflection on it. And we specialize in type 2 fun. So we're purposefully getting these youth out of their comfort zone to try things that they've never done. And the confidence that we see, the self-efficacy that we see, it really is quite a cool thing. We've had youth reflect on, I was struggling to climb a mountain and summit a mountain, and I realized that when I can do that, that makes so many other things possible in my life. So it really is cool to see that our trips out west, what they do, and then just like Ian said, the cohorts and the relationships that we build with people from all across the Omaha, Council Bluffs, Bellevue region that otherwise would never even interact with each other.
Thank you, Mitch. And the way we really do this then, we'll quick go through that. So our staffing model is Mitch and I are our only two full-time staff. We do, though, have a pretty big and diverse team of folks we do in a gig staff way. So we might pay them $20 or $25 an hour to come, always having two paid staff at each of our local events and more when we travel from home. But these folks, it's a really cool opportunity, particularly for a lot of young professionals to plug into. It's a little bit of extra money, doesn't break our bank, but it also gives a little bit of inspiration to folks who come from diverse and but really professional and pretty awesome experiences to bring to these kids. I spent a long time working in nonprofits, and one of the challenges is that high quality, sustainable staffing over time. And our answer is just having a big pool of people who are always in the system. Sometimes they're in, sometimes they're not. And by using the pool, we do sort of a first come, first serve for our local events. The first two to sign up get the paid gigs, but we often will have multiple others who volunteer to come out just because it's something cool they want to do and they enjoy being a part of this. And it's a neat opportunity for these folks, I think, to feel really fulfilled and something that they get to do, and it's something that they want to do, like just hikes in the woods, or we have a rock climbing wall day coming up where we'll do the same thing. So it's one of the things that has helped really drive impact is trying to develop unique relationships with new peers, near peers, and adult peer mentors. And these folks really are second to none, I think, and make everything we do possible. But they come to us in a different way through this gig sort of relationship over time. But we also drive everything we do with volunteers. We have 45 volunteers involved in this. This again with outdoor things. One of my experience over the last 20 years, plus in working in the outdoor nonprofit space, has been there's no short of volunteers as long as you find ways of plugging them in, because it's cool stuff that people want to do. And so we really rely heavily on volunteers for everything from driving folks around to when we do a camp out, as we'll talk about overnight, them just being there to help control the show and keep things moving in the same direction. It's a great opportunity for volunteers to plug into nature-based outdoor programming, including what we'll talk about with the Walthill stuff, which is driven both by our staff team and a lot of our volunteers plugging in along the way. Quickly, we are blessed, though, I will say, if you are interested in knowing more about Go Beyond, we are blessed with a couple of pretty remarkable lands and facilities. One of them that you're looking at there, that's our Centennial Ranch. We are a conservation preserve, home to the most endangered amphibian in North America, the Wyoming toad. We partner with U.S. Fish and Wildlife and zoos across the country. There's plenty of opportunities if, as you're listening to us ramble on today, you are interested in plugging into a really cool science opportunity in South Central Wyoming, around endangered species and climate change and a changing water system, etc. We have really remarkable opportunities open to partnership right now, and please reach out to me directly. But with Danielle here, that's Go Beyond. Mitch, anything else you want to add on Go Beyond?
No, I think you covered most of it. It really is. We focus on kind of the depth of impact and the human person. And we just have such qualified staff that we're really able to focus in with these youth and show them that there's a positive male or female role model in their lives that cares about them and wants to see them succeed. So it's a wonderful program. I'm blessed to be part of it and happy with our growth and that we keep going, serving other youth and keep growing.
And I suppose I think the people on this meeting, though I don't actually see anybody. I'm thinking they're all like folks who run programs in various ways. I will say, we are used to be a weakness. Now all of a sudden it's a strength, but we are 100% privately funded. So everybody involved in our programs comes to us through the donations of the community. And so we drive a lot of fundraising from grants and public fundraisers to pay for everything that we do. So we try to make everything free of charge for everyone who's involved. And that is done through private donations. So that's the nuts and bolts of it. But Danielle, I want to jump into why we're here. We're here to talk about the Walthill partnership and introduce you. Please say hey and introduce yourself. Oh, Danielle, I can't hear you. We have a Katie. We might need support here.
I think it might be audio on Danielle's computer
Okay.
because you're unmuted.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a little better. Oh.
Maybe lean very close. Oh boy.
Oh. Try talking a little bit and maybe we can see if we can hear you better.
Okay.
It's
We can hear you.
it's coming out a little bit. It's kind of staticky.
Oh, it's an older computer, so that might be why.
Oh, that's
No,
better.
we can hear you now.
Okay, I'll just
Yeah.
try to be on the side. Okay. I'm Danielle Pickering. I am a program director in Walthill, Nebraska. And I help run the after school program. I also teach first grade. And yeah, we've gotten to partner with Go Beyond has been 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
We're getting there. We're in year 2. Yeah.
Year 2, yep. So, yeah.
So Danielle, I put into this a little bit of a chance because these folks who are on this, as I understand, are from like 6, 8 states across the region. And so they don't necessarily know who you are. So I wanted to give you a chance to maybe introduce. We've talked about Go Beyond who we are, which is sort of an interesting thing to bring into a partnership with you guys, and just a chance to talk about who Walthill Public School is. I got your values here if you wanted to just very briefly introduce who you guys are.
All right, so Walthill Public School is a school located on the Omaha Tribal Reservation in Nebraska. All of our students, I shouldn't say all, majority of our students are Native American. and they come from low-income houses. We are a Title I school, so we low-income school. They all qualify for free and reduced lunches. I don't know, what else should I say?
It's a pretty small school.
Yeah, it's pretty small. In my first
yeah.
grade class, I have 8 students. So small school. The biggest class I think is 20 in a grade. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things, and this segues well, so we at Go Beyond were Beyond School Bells, who's our partner that brought us to this conference, had come to us with an idea. They had a funding source that they wanted to take a successful community organization, nonprofit program like us, and see if we could partner into a school district and what could be built together with them. And so we had actually sort of looked around at, with where could we partner in the world, pretty aggressively. It took us about a year to find a place. It wasn't a ton of funding. It wouldn't have changed everything, but we really wanted to see what this would look like and find a good partner. In our efforts, we had talked to a number of different school districts around the region. One of the things that was so great about Walthill was and while the size definitely helps them do this, they're very flexible and they were rarely interested in partnering with community organizations. You can see on their bottom value there, the community engagement was a priority. And you got that sense right when you walked in the door. As a nonprofit, again, I don't know everyone on this call, on this meeting, but as a nonprofit, I'm not even kidding, we knock on a 999 doors to try to get into public schools, and maybe, one of them opens the door and even talks to us. We get brushed off, blown off quite a bit. And so what happened at Walthill was pretty awesome and really has grown. Well, it was their approach to community engagement and openness to nonprofits coming in with hey, we don't know exactly how this is going to look, but let's give it a shot and see what happens sort of approach. And that flexibility in the school built into their culture was pivotal to what happened and what is currently happening over the years ahead, I think. Danielle, is there anything else that comes to mind before we jump into the partnership from there?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let me stop it before we jump into what we've done together. I really work way better when people are asking questions and we're talking. This is not my natural environment, sitting in a chair talking at a computer screen. My natural environment is in a room full of people. So I'm going to struggle to fill the 50 minutes with words if people don't like jump in and ask questions. So is there anybody out there regarding Walthill or Go Beyond before we jump into what we've done together? All righty. So one of the things that I think is it's real, it's authentic, and needs to be said, and is a bit heart-wrenching, is that when we approached Walthill, our typical age group is 13 to 15 years old. And so that's that eighth into ninth grade sort of transition for a variety of reasons. The principal, Jacob Schuler, immediately sort of begged us off of that and said, basically by that age, you're not going to re-engage them. They're mostly too disengaged. You're not going to they're not going to do it. And so he said, I'd really like to start younger. He's like, let's look at fifth through seventh graders. And that intrigued us because we built this idea of then working over 3 years together to build connections and relationships together and out in the community towards getting those fifth through seventh graders on a Wyoming expedition, such as we do within our core program, which would be the highlight and sort of the unicorn, the key thing that intrigues people is that opportunity down the line to do this really life-changing trip. And so that sounded great. I will say Mitch has a master's in education and 5 years as a teacher in classroom. Danielle, being a classroom person, I am the odd one out all day long. I know I've not ever done anything other than like this sort of nonprofit educational space, which can be very different. But we did sort of carry an approach into it of just keeping it really simple with this age group. So Mitch and I's conversations early on really were focused on whatever we're going to do. It's sort of like if the kids aren't on board in the first 2 minutes, it's a lost cause. Like, forget it, because we are functioning in after school space in a lot of this. And the kids have just sat through 8 hours of teachers and engage. It's just exhausting, right? And they just want to let go and do something. And so we wanted to keep it simple, keep it focused on activities that were easy to onboard, but were fun and just engaging. We're not going to win awards for how skilled are in the outdoors the kids come out of our programs, but we do we just focus on the fun. We focus on it being simple, fun, easy. And what's always remarkable for this is when we do it this way, that hour and a half or whatever it is, hour and 20 minutes after school can go by really, really quick when those kids are just sort of hands-on, having fun, doing really simple things that don't seem like they should take a whole time, but they do somehow, and they do it pretty well. So Mitch, I thought here, if you are able, one of the things, the next two slides are just the lesson plans of what we focused on. And this is, you built the lesson, you built the lesson plans. I know you're not prepared with anything in particular to say, but do you have any thoughts as you were building? So I have lessons through 1 through 5 here, and then we have the final ones after this that you want to say as we built this.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of touched on it already, Ian, but just I think the emphasis of the lessons I put on them having fun and it being hands-on experiential learning. Just like Ian said, they've been sitting down, kind of being told instructions and the learning process for about 8 hours in the day, so their brains are pretty fried at the point that we get them. So what we would always do is we would always have some different drinks and snacks that they could come in and look forward to. So that we kind of always tried to start out on a positive like that. Tried to do healthy, but as you know, that's sometimes a little tougher. But so we would always do some snacks and drinks when they would come in. And then we really would make the lesson or the core part of it pretty quick. We would have a simple objective. Like as you can see, like Earth and our place in it, we like learned about plant and animal identification in Nebraska, and then they got to try to learn about some fossils and actually dig up some fossils. So we always kind of wanted a takeaway for them to take home. When it was like rock climbing, we gave them carabiners and we taught them the proper way to fall and stuff. And then we actually took kind of like a field trip one weekend to a climbing gym. So we really were just doing hands-on learning things that it could get them out of their seat, get them moving, and kind of just having fun in the whole process. So my goal throughout it all was to make sure that they were having fun and then something to take away from home. As you see then kind of on the the next slide, lessons 6 through 9, kind of more hands-on things. Honestly, one of my favorite ones that we do is ways to engage in nature. With us kind of having our summer opportunities and cohorts out in Wyoming, we make sure that the youth are having fun. So we have a lot of different yard games and stuff. So what we simply did is we brought up all those yard games to Walthill, which include can jam, ladder ball, all that stuff. We explained the rules and we let the youth play. And I think that was just one of my favorite days because it's just I was an elementary teacher, like Ian said, and I just absolutely love hearing kids laughing and smiling and interacting with each other. And on those days where we just kind of emphasized go outside, have fun, and play with each other, I think those were kind of some of our best days because we just kind of allowed the kids to be kids. And that's where I saw the most success, I believe.
And I want to highlight too that we're always thinking about engagement. So one of the things within the program that we plugged into, and we're a once a week with extracurriculars. 8 week is what you're looking at here. So sort of a standard plug in play sort of not after school program. But we were, as a private nonprofit, what we did, and it costs less than you might think, but we wanted these little sort of outdoor gifts along the way that would intrigue youth, not everyone, but it would intrigue some of them to get some of these things. And it was particularly, I think, impactful in the community of Walthill, this small rural, and I think we can talk about it as Danielle did, as being a pretty highly impoverished area overall. So just our compass activity, this simple, as fun as just this walk in a triangle thing, orienteering thing. It's super easy, simple. They have fun doing it and they have fun screwing it up a lot. And but they get to walk out with those little affordable compasses. But you see some of the kids through time will come up to me in this hall and be like, "Oh, I got my compass on my backpack right here. We'll do flashlights just as a gift, and we'll do like these you can get binoculars pretty affordably, just basic beginner birding binoculars pretty affordably. That being sort of like these, these gifts that they will hopefully use to continue forward. But honestly, what we're driving for, in as much as anything, there is a little bit of expenditure for engagement. We see it as an engagement thing, and then you'll see there's 2 trips off-site. So we do in our 8 week sort of thing. It really would kind of be 9, 10 sessions, I guess. But there's a rock climbing day, as Mitch alluded to. That is a blast. Just a local rock climbing gym. I think the most complicated part of that day is making sure the waivers are all in order. But really, it's simple. Gyms are well set up to host kids who've never done it before most of the time, and that's easy. But I think the ultimate experience being that we do these campouts with them, these one night local campouts. Like one of the campouts last year, we end up doing multiple, as we'll talk about in a second. But like our first one last year, we had 16 kids camp out with us. And like 14 of them had never sat around a campfire. 14 of them had never slept in a tent. 15 of them, I think, had never been away from home without a caregiver, a direct caregiver. And it was really like wonderful new experience, but it's work and it's busy and you got to prepare, but it's really not that hard. And you can usually find, as we did, people in the community that will donate things like the gear you need. We just keep it in our storage closets now. But it wasn't that hard. Everyone enjoys it. It's just one night. But for particularly for a lot of those kids who maybe don't have like the outdoorsy, enthusiastic parents, it was remarkably impactful to have them just out for this one night. It was a big deal to them. And it was really cool to kind of see that unfold. But having that out there also kept that engagement going, which is, as a nonprofit, is always our biggest focus, is giving young people who are drifting towards disengagement a reason to engage as much as we can. But I also want to say that we never force it, and this is sometimes a little bit of a different construct that we bring. We do a couple different places where we do some school programming, and it is a little different that we if somebody doesn't want to, cool. That's fine. Don't. Like, this isn't, you don't have to force it. We do the fossil dig. There's a handful of kids who are like the whole time they're on that rock scraping at these little fossil kits that you can get. They're in it. And then other kids who have no interest. And we're always really accommodating of that. Again, our goal isn't so much teaching the future generation of outdoors people. Our goal is actually engagement, and we use nature outdoor learning experiences to build engagement, hoping that the kids, if we measured it, we would hope our measurement was that the kids felt like they wanted to be more involved next time Go Beyond walks in the door. Like they want to come back. That's our win. Not so much do they know how to start a fire or actually use a compass well.
Hey,
A few of
Ian.
the things that were, yep, go ahead, Mitch.
Oh, sorry. We got a question. I was just gonna in on really quick, to Kevin. Yeah, I have a couple games that are very successful with the kids. The number one is called Can Jam, a very easy game with frisbees and buckets. Ladder ball has been a big success as well. If you have a group that really likes soccer, I just ordered a new one called Spot Kick, and we tried that out at staff training this past weekend, and it was a huge success. As far as other card games, a really fun one is called Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. I know it sounds absurd, but it's a really fun game that gets the kids all playing together. And yeah, it's a great one. So yeah, I would recommend those. And yeah, they're all really fun. It seems last summer, at least on the boys' trips, Can Jam was our number one success. Like they were playing it constantly. So if you're able to get that one, it's pretty cheap and a fun one for the group. But yeah.
Thank you for watching for the questions, Mitch.
Oh
I don't
yeah,
see those
Spike
here.
Ball that was the other one that I was trying to think of and couldn't remember. Spike Ball is excellent as well.
Is there anything else? I'm not looking at that right now in questions or
He
anything.
just
Good.
asked for
Okay.
successful yard games.
And that actually leads me to a quick comment that we always share. Many people know of this, but if you don't, you need to know of this as we begin sharing some of our most successful after school little hour-and-a-half programs. Like the tents here, this is our tent day. It was crappy weather outside, but the tents we set up inside. The kids get to set up tents. They screw it up at first. We let them screw it up, we maybe fix it, but they just get to hang out at the having an absolute blast. The steepandcheap.com. I'm not making a corporate pitch. Kind of am. But steepandcheap.com is a way to get extremely good deals on high quality outdoor gear. There are a bunch of opportunities, but we have found incredible deals at Steep and Cheap that help us affordably onboard 20 people camping, sort of, 20 people's worth of camping equipment. And so just small plug there for the real logistics of getting this stuff. But I wanted to highlight a few of the key days that I think were really successful, and they're so simple. But this day where we just come in with like 6, 7 tents and let the kids set them up, and they just love it. It takes them, if we have an hour and a half after school, it takes them an hour to set it up. And then a feverish half hour to break it down. I can promise you those tents are not put away well the end of the first time they do this, but they do it. And it's a really fun thing where they just, it's hands-on, it's easy. And then the another one, Mitch, I would be grateful. I think a lot of people on this call, I think, are real practitioners, on the ground folks overseeing programs. I love the binocular activity you lead. I think the kids love that. Do you want to talk about what you do with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the binoculars, that's actually one of our last sessions. It's called Binoculars and Goodbyes. We essentially teach them how to use binoculars with getting the focus in and making sure they have one circle. And then we actually go outside and I do a test with them where I start off with simple numbers or three-letter words, consonant, vowel, consonant, and they start off big and I keep getting back further away and they get smaller and harder. And it's kind of just a fun activity where all the kids are shouting them out. It's a little chaotic, but that's kind of, as Ian has explained, we kind of enjoy the chaos and letting them kind of be able to yell and shout and run around. And so the binoculars is a really fun day. And then just like we said, then they get to take those home. If they use them for birding, great. They just use them just around the house, then great as well. Our goal is just that they kind of have fun with something and then have something to kind of associate that memory with.
And then these are the compasses. I mean, these are what, Mitch? $1 a piece?
Yeah, there's like like a 50 for $10 to $15.
Yeah, so they're very affordable and they actually work. I mean, I wouldn't rely on them if I was like hiking backcountry in the mountains, but for local activities, they really do work and they're good enough for this. But again, it's that what our whole focus is engagement, and it's a small expense in the name of engagement. That if you kind of keep that intriguing reason to keep coming back involved, we just hope that they keep coming back and continuing to explore with us through that. And Danielle, I wanted to pause. We have some of the extracurriculars that we've built in that I was going to talk about next. But do you have any comments on that, or like I was going to start talking about like the rock climbing days and the summer day camp we now do as well. But your reflections on the 8 weeks?
Yeah, I think that the kids, they love the 8 weeks. Our attendance on the Tuesdays when Go Beyond is there is always much higher than when Go Beyond is not here. I think that Mitch kind of said exactly what I was thinking, like just allowing the kids a chance to truly just be kids. So many of our students are forced to grow up and take on adult responsibilities at a young age that they miss out on those opportunities. Like for reference, I taught second grade 2 years ago, and one of my second graders was responsible for getting up 3 younger siblings and getting them ready for the day before she could come to school, and that's in second grade. So many of them miss out on these opportunities in their childhood to truly just be children and make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. And so I think Go Beyond has just, like, we've just been able to provide them with those opportunities. One of my favorite things is when you get out to a campsite, you give them a tent and you let them figure it out. We don't go through a step-by-step instruction on how to set up a tent. We give it to them, and with their group, they get them set up, and it's a wild ride, and it takes a while, but they get to do it and they have the pride in knowing that it's something that they did.
Yeah, thank you for that, Danielle. And when we, I mean, it was almost a too quick of a reaction in some respects, but I think early on in the first 8 weeks of us doing this in partnership and with these fifth through seventh graders, we saw that the engagement was really good, and so we quickly, as a nonprofit, we had the flexibility to go to some funders and say, "Hey, we have an idea. Can we expand this into a multi-year commitment with more opportunities on the side?" And so I went to some private funders. That's not easy to always find. I don't want to make light of that. That takes a ton of work and that takes a lot of cultivation. That is, as executive director of Go Beyond, that is a substantial portion of my job, is maintaining and building new connections with potential funding sources. But we were able to find, when you think about pitching something like, hey, it's just to get kids in the outdoors who wouldn't otherwise have a chance, and do some stuff. There's people out there that will fund something like that, and the cost to onboard is fairly modest, as we said, especially like our tents from Steep and Cheap. But we had some positive funders respond, and so what we started doing that kind of was added fun, but again, we're really looking at that engagement issue. So I want to again come back to the focus of Go Beyond. We do all these cool things, but our focus is engagement. So we pay attention to the fact that 60%, 60, of young men feel no engagement to the community, school, or otherwise. And we're trying to figure out how do we solve engagement issues? Well, that's through peers, near peer mentors, and adult mentors, and just doing things that you like to do. You build a little community that can lift that up. But so we just started looking at what can we do that's easy, quick, on board, and we started doing like these little one-night campouts. So you see one here. Like again, the onboarding costs, there's some there, but those chairs we got for like 10, $20 a piece. They're not going to last forever, but they wouldn't anyway. We get blankets to sit on the ground. It's a fun experience. We do some stuff that costs a little bit more. We had the funding to add in ropes course. We're doing that again. So we do, and the rock climbing is modestly costful. One of the biggest questions always is transportation, but we found in partnership with the school, Walthill has some unique requirements I think, from being a reservation-based school. But I think, the school has transportation opportunities, and they were able to find people, Danielle, within your framework, who are like, sure, I'll do the driving because I want to be involved with this too. It's kind of cool and I want to go do it. So Danielle, I don't know if you have anything much to say on transportation, but I think a key part of Go Beyond's never-ending problem solving is what are we going to do for transportation for everyone involved in everything we do. But I think one of the things we found in partnering with the school is it was somewhat easy to solve the transportation problem. And Danielle, did you have anything on transportation at all? Probably not really. No, yeah. That was, I think, more. I mean, you cultivate the partnerships, but it's nice. You just need the person able to drive, and it's not that hard to come up with like the bus for some of these things we do. But we do these little excursions. They're not huge investments of time and energy. We're building the relationship over the next handful of years. Through this, we have plans like here. We're camping in a whole nother state park in the autumn. We're going to do that again. We take these kids from the rural community again into the city. This is in downtown Omaha. And we do like the Luminarium. We do some state parks here at Mahoney State Park. But we just do these cool little activities, really always focused on what would the kids actually want to do. And we ask them every time. Like, we don't get super formal about it, about like collecting surveys and stuff, but we are always conversing with them. Like, what do you want to do? Did you like this? We're always asking them, like, when it comes to the gifts and stuff as well, like what little things would you actually want to use? And we try to just really focusing on engagement. We then are able to collect the other things that give them access to science, outdoors, new ideas, and exploring the world. A key part, though, that I want to highlight is a terrible picture of Kira on the left there, but I want to highlight one of the key things we do, going back to our natural leaders, is that we employ older youth just a little bit beyond the kids we're serving to help lead our program. So I want to introduce you here to Carter. Carter is from Walthill, 16 years old now, last year and a half, so 14, 15 years old. He's been helping lead. He just comes with, and this is a job for him. It's a chance for him to have a little bit of experience interacting with the boss, getting some money on the side. I pay him an honestly pretty good hourly thing, but it's keeps him coming back. And he's really good in there because he kind of is in with the kids, seeing what's happening when we're exploring places. Like behind him there is the Science Museum of Omaha. It's called the Luminarium. And so when we're there, he can be with small groups of kids. And then on the other side is Kira. And I want to highlight like some of these opportunities with like Kira and others. They really are incredible opportunities for these natural leaders to have a chance to lead kids they never otherwise would. And so these aren't kids who always get leadership opportunities, but giving them simple things like helping to serve dinner and stuff really means something to them. And then we hope to, in a couple of years, where this is a Go Beyond group climbing this Medicine Bow Peak in Wyoming, we hope in 2026 we're going to take those Walthill kids from this tiny little town in Nebraska and climb that very mountain, and Danielle will as well. I know we're at the end, so I wanted to throw up our contact information. I want to again highlight we have that really awesome endangered species opportunity in Centennial, Wyoming with facilities if anyone's interested. But otherwise, thank you all for listening to mainly me ramble on. And thank you, Mitch and Danielle, for being here.
Wonderful. Thank you all. Thank you, Ian, Mitch, and Danielle. That was awesome. I know people probably have lots of questions for you all, so make sure you get their emails down. There is also, I believe, because I downloaded it and it's awesome, their annual report is uploaded in their session. So if you go back into the lobby and you click on this Go Beyond session, you can download their annual report and get a little more info and see some stories and see a little bit about what they presented today. So thank you all so much. This was amazing. And when we end this session, you'll see a little session feedback form at the end. So go ahead and fill that out once we're done, just to give a little info about kind of this session and what you learned. And then once we end this, it'll hopefully send you back to the lobby. There is a little lobby tab at the top of the screen to return to the lobby. And then the next sessions will be starting in 10 minutes. And just a little update, the NASA Citizen Science session has moved to the next session because it wasn't able to happen. So also, sorry you can't see my face. I realized I still have the spotlight on Ian, Mitch, and Danielle. So sorry, it looks like your heads are talking with my voice. So anyway, the next sessions you have the library panel, and then Career View XR, and then NASA Citizen Science will be your next options. So thank you so much, Ian, Mitch, and Danielle, and there are their emails if you want to contact them and ask lots of questions. This is an amazing program, and it was amazing to hear about. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Bye now.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.